Hello, Doctrinal Summary. This is your beloved Professor Corey Marsh, and here we are in session 2 of the second leg of our course, Doctrinal Summary. I just want to, this is actually going to be a really quick video because you guys are fully in the swing of things and knowing how this course is running and how to get things in, the reading log, the chapter. Any questions that you guys have, you send me emails and we communicate it that way. Even text messages I've done that as well, and talked to some of you in person on the phone. It's been great. So this video is going to be very short because I'm done with just about all of your, well, by the time you get this, should be all of your anthropology chapters. And I just want to say they were fantastic. You guys wasted no time and got right into the swing of just great scholarly research and writing. I mean, from what I can remember, there's always little odds and ends and little things that need to be revised and fixed, but it's so not a big deal at this point. Everything that I had to correct was very minor, just basic typos and whatnot, and maybe a few questionable sentences and sentence structures. Really no big deal. For the most part, I mean, in fact, I'm thinking of everybody's chapter, there wasn't one that was deficient. They were excellent. Some were better than others, but overall they were great. It's exactly where you should be at this point in the course. So I want to thank you for just really paying attention and listening to a lot of the feedback that I give back to you and implementing that. You guys have been doing great. I mean, for the most part, the only real problem with the chapter on man was some of you being late on, submitting the assignment. Other than that, I mean, a lot of you, I mean, not a lot, but a few of you that were that late probably would have gotten, A's. And I had to reduce some points. So as we move on to this, latter half of the trimester, I'm going to be a little bit more strict regarding the late policy. Just to remind you, it's 10% per day whenever an assignment's late. That's right there on the syllabus. And I actually revised it. It used to be 20%. From the former professor, but I had a little grace, a little mercy on you guys, and made it 10%. And sometimes I have a hard time sticking, with that because I don't want to mark things late, especially when you turn in a great paper. But at this point, and you're in the second half of doctrinal summary, you guys have to be getting things in on time. So I am going to start marking those things down. I already have this session, and will continue to do so. So get those papers in on time. Other than that, you guys are doing fantastic work. And for those of you that were able to make it a couple weeks ago in person to our first class back, I hope that was beneficial for you. That was a fun night. Kind of really you can't get too much from the audio on it. You had to be there in person, although you can pick up some things of how it went. But we did a mock oral defense, and it was really fun. I kind of sprung it on everybody. And you guys did really well. So your oral defense, believe it or not, will probably be easier than what you went through with me because, one, you had no idea that I was going to be doing that. And you're kind of just thrown up there without any preparation. And I know how that goes when you're like on the spot to come up with an answer. And even in your own work, it's hard to collect your thoughts right then and the pressure's on. But, in your oral defense, which is in a couple months, you'll have time to prepare for it. And the questions that I gave you were generally probably might have even been a little bit more harder than what you'll get. I'm not too sure. We'll see when we get to that point who actually is who makes up the committee of your readers who's going to read it and ask you questions while you're there. But pretty much that's what you can expect, what you guys went through. And each one of you, all of you guys did great. In fact, I wish we could have spent more time on that. If I could do it all over again, we would have started with that and gone right into that mock oral defense to give everybody adequate time. But you guys did great. So anyways, there's nothing to worry about with your oral defense. For those of you online, kind of it's one of the bummers of not being there in person. There's not really much I can do about that. But just keep responding to my feedback and implementing it. You'll do fine. You'll do great too. I have no doubts about it. I did want to bring up that starting next month in February is the ACL Award. I don't know if you remember this, but the first night of class, the very first day of Doctrinal Summary 1 back in September, I had talked about the ACL Award. Jennifer Ewing talked about it downstairs in the library. This is a librarian award, and what it's for this class. And me, as your professor, I get to nominate chapters that I think are worthy of this award, which the grand prize, from what I remember, if it's correctly, is $1,000. But it gets applied toward a graduate level course. So you practically get a free graduate level course. And you get, the recognition of it. You get an award. You actually get put, online with a pool of everybody across the country that's also won it. Anyways, it's not required. If there are no chapters worthy of it, I'm not going to nominate anybody because my name goes on it as well. It starts with me and then goes to Jennifer and then it goes to whatever committee it is to pick. But I am happy to announce that so far there are 3 of you whose chapters that I am going to nominate. And unfortunately, one of you are going to win. But I have to tell you, there has been, even 3 was hard to do. There are several. I mean, probably we have 10 people in this course altogether between on ground and on campus. And, we're 9. We've had one that's dropped out. But there are many, many good chapters that I could be nominating, and it was hard. So I had to narrow it down, made it kind of painful. So far, the 3 of you that have written these chapters, you probably already know that you're going to be nominated. I've reached out to you, or you will know very soon. But it's not over. The pool for it is next month in February, so there's still some time for some of you to maybe step up your A game and go for that award. So I wanted to throw that out to you and just let you know that that's coming up next week. That's when when I actually have to fill out the paperwork and work with Jennifer and get your guys' chapters nominated, and we'll see what happens. But that's an exciting thing coming up. All right, you guys. Well, this session we have the Doctrine of Sin, Hamartiology. I'm not going to spend too much time here on that. Oh, and by the way, if you want to know more about the ACL award, all of that, like I said that night in class, and it's on the audio too, that's still in Doctrinal Summary 1 link. Your link in Blackboard for Doctrinal Summary 1, you should still have full access to it in course materials. If you just scroll down, there's all that great material in there. One of them is the ACL award. You can read about it there and get up to speed on what it is. Anyway, so this session we have Doctrine of Sin. Your guys' reading logs are due on this Thursday, on the 26th. And then the chapter is going to be due the week after that. So if there's any questions, as you know, go ahead and email me. You guys are doing really well. There's not really much I need to explain. There are 4 different journal articles. I had to narrow it down to 4. There were so many I wanted to use that are in Blackboard for you. There's some older ones like from Joseph Kyle, back from the 20s in Bibliothea Sacra. It's a great, very simplistic article on sin and what it is and the history of it, which is really good. There is another one I'm pulling up right now. There's one from John Mahoney in the Southern Baptist Journal of Theology, which is really good as well. It talks about the historical Adam and the implications of that towards a doctrine of sin, which is very important. John Walvoord has a really good one from the 1940s, also in BSAC, in Bibliotheca Sacra. That's put out by Dallas Theological Seminary, by the way, in case you don't know. They have the rights to that journal. It's one of the oldest theological journals and one of the best in the country. It started in the 1800s, I believe. Yeah, late 1800s, I think. Anyways, Dallas Seminary has the actual rights to it, so they put it out now. John Walvoord's, it's part of a series, 33 words for sin in the New Testament. A lot of people don't know that. We take our, doctrine of sin, hamartiology, from the Greek word of hamartia. That is the most frequent word for sin, which gets translated a lot it just means sin, but it gets the meaning of it. A lot of times you'll hear being told that it means missing the mark, which is kind of bare. So it doesn't necessarily have a moral tone to it, but it does in the way the Bible uses it. It's used over 200 times as a noun and an adjective together. But it's not the only word for sin. It's the most frequent, which is why we get our word hamartiology, meaning the doctrine or the study of sin from. But there are many others. In fact, as John Walvoord has in this article, there's 33. And this is just part 1 of a series, so I don't want to overwhelm you with a bunch of them, but it's a good way to get you started off on something very simple with definitions. And, on that note, a lot of times people don't define sin. They just explain it. But sin needs to be defined, and the Bible does define sin. I'll give you a hint. It's in the book of 1 John. It's a very simple sentence. chapter 3, I believe it is, what sin is. So I'm going to leave that up to you, up for you to to investigate a little further. And some of you go-getters already know what I'm talking about. But that's how the Bible does define sin. But I'm looking at the outline, very simple. Those 4 things you have to cover: the concept of sin, the nature of sin, the effect and transmission of sin, and the Christian and sin. That final one is really, there's going to be some overlap really with your last chapter on the Christian life, but that's okay. So here we're dealing specifically with sin and how we battle it. Our 3 enemies: the world, the flesh, and the devil. The nature of sin is very interesting because you can think of sin as a disposition, which is more like an attitude, a behavior, or an attitude of an inclination, like sinful thoughts and your will being sinful, of choosing sin. And it's also manifests itself in acts and behavior, the way when you actually perform a sin. So sin can be very nuanced. And the effect and transmission of sin, here we start with total depravity, which is also called original sin. Everybody is born in a sinful state. That's Psalm 51 and Ephesians 2 verse 3 as well. We have this sin that's imputed to us, and we also inherit a sinful nature. But it's universal. So you got both sides of that. How do we inherit it? How is it passed down? And how is it also imputed to our account, or reckoned or credited to our account? So you guys are probably already getting your chapters done. You're already in the thick of it, I'm sure. But there's a very quick rundown right there, as I just kind of glanced over the outline. I put those outlines together about a month ago, and I haven't looked at it since. So I'm kind of getting familiar with it again myself. But if you have any questions, go ahead and shoot me an email, and I will get back to you ASAP. And that's another thing. I've brought this up before. When you send me an email, expect an answer pronto. I have my little trusty tablet with me wherever I go. And it's always buzzing me when I have student emails. So your emails are the ones I respond to before anybody's. It's set that way on my tablet, where I am notified if a student email, and I do that on purpose so I can get back to you quick in case you have a quick question. So definitely within that hour, I'm getting back to you. Generally, it's within the first 15-20 minutes, if that. But at least give me an hour or so at the very latest. But anyways, so if you send me an email, expect an answer back very quick. All right, you guys, I am praying for you, and I am looking forward to reading your next chapter. Alrighty. God bless. Shalom. Bye.